If he don't want to be with you because you say you're trying to honor God and this is one of the ways that you're going to do it, he wasn't for you. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kimberly Louise. If you're new and if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. Today, we're going to be talking about boundaries in Christian dating while you are waiting for marriage. So if that's something that you're interested in, girl, then come on, get you some tea, get you some coffee, girl, a glass of water, and sit and let's just have a chat, okay? The Lord has been pressing on my heart to do this video, because I think it's so important to, once you've gone past that dating stage and you're with the person that God will have you be with, there are still some things that you got to do. And these are things that I wish I could have watched a video like this when I was dating my husband, my kingdom spouse, my God sent man, okay? The man of my prayers, okay? These are things I wish I could have watched and been like, oh, well, that would be helpful. Okay, so what are boundaries anyway? Okay, boundaries, basically, I wrote down this definition. It says, boundaries are basically safeguards or guidelines that a person creates to identify reasonable, safe, and permissible ways for other people to behave around them or towards them. So why do you need them? Why do you need boundaries? Kim, I'm good. Like, I don't need no boundaries. Like, I know he ain't gonna do nothing I want him to do. We be real prideful when it comes to that, okay? We need them because you're not as strong as you think, sis. You're not. Just own that and be like, hey, I'm not as strong as I think. I need some things put in place so that way if this happens, then I know this is the route I take. If this happens, then I know this is the route I take for this. Like, having boundaries helps us not just in dating, but in life. There are some times when you just are communicating with people, or certain people may take advantage of you because of something, right? But if you have these boundaries in place that you uphold, people aren't gonna just walk all over you. Like, this is to protect you. That's number one. You're not as strong as you think. Y'all, when I was dating my husband, let's go back to before. So before we started dating, I had been celibate at this point for about 10 years, okay? And so I was like, I'm good. I'm good. I don't even want to have sex, right? I meet my husband. Y'all, I'm being so transparent and real with y'all right now. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so attracted to him. Okay, Lord, I'm gonna need you to help, because I don't trust myself. I'm not even finna sit up here and act like I do, because I don't. And so with that though, there were some safeguards that I believe the Lord put in place for us. Because if you guys watched my How God Wrote Our Love Story video, you will know in that video, I sold my house and moved back in with my parents. The day we started dating was the day that I moved back in with my parents. Safeguard number one, living with my parents. So y'all, this is when I want to talk about like accountability. Now, my parents are amazing. They weren't the type of parents that were like, oh, y'all got to do this at a certain time. He need to be out the house by this time. Like, they didn't care. We was grown. They didn't care. So that's number one. That's what you should know about my parents. They weren't very strict about nothing. It was just, hey, let me know what you're doing so I can whatever. Okay. So that's number one. So I can remember when before we really started dating, going out on dates and things like that, we had a conversation, and the conversation kind of went something like this. I was like, we need to put in some just safeguards, right? So first things first, I was like, during the week, you have to leave my parents' house at 9:30. I know this probably sounds elementary to y'all. Y'all probably like, Kim, 9:30? Like, for real, sis? Yes, girl, for real. Okay. You need to leave my house at 9:30. So at my parents' house, where I'm from, they called the front, there was 2 front rooms in their house. And one of them was like kind of like a sitting room, you know, and we would call that the front room because it was in the front of the house. And then the back room was like the just where everybody would congregate for, you know, get-togethers and stuff. So they basically just let us have the front room. We made that our little living room. Like, that's what we call it, girl. We call it our living room, okay? And so we could watch movies up there, all of that. So during the week, it was 9:30. And then on the weekend, it was like, I think, unless it was like New Year's, it was probably like 10:30, I would say. And we only saw each other like maybe 2 to 3 times a week. Like we would see each other like probably Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then during the week, it was like one day because we were just both of us was very busy. And so that's what you should know. Living with my parents was like a built-in accountability system. Now, sis, I know you probably live by yourself. I get that. I understand. What I'm saying is that putting boundaries in place that say, hey, we're not going to meet after this time, or we're not going to meet at my house alone. These are things that will help protect you. Like, I know you think you're stronger than that, but you're not. Like, I'm going to just be real with you. When you meet that man and you've been praying for this man and you meet this man and he is more than any list you could ever write, it's different. I'm just telling you, it's different when you meet him. Okay, so just have some safeguards in place. You're believing God for a husband, so have those safeguards already in place so that when he comes, you're good to go. Another thing I did was, you guys might know or you might not know, but we did not kiss until our wedding day. And this was because I decided years before I met my husband that I just didn't want to do it. And the reason being was because, again, I told y'all, I'm not as strong as I think. So I was like, let's just take kissing off the table so that way, hey, we at least, on a better note, right? So no kissing. I might have my husband on at some point to tell y'all for real how he felt about that, because he didn't expect me to say that, okay? He was like, yes, I know we're not having sex, cool, no big deal, but he didn't know about the no kissing thing. That wasn't nothing he was thinking about, and so that was new for him. But for me, I knew that I needed a safeguard for myself personally. And so I wasn't worried about telling him because, again, I told you guys, I knew he was my husband. Like, it was just so crazy. But there was still, like, in the back of my mind, this fear of like, man, what if I tell him I don't want to kiss? He might not want to be with me. That's good. If he don't want to be with you because you say you're trying to honor God and this is one of the ways that you're going to do it, he wasn't for you. And I know that might be hard to hear, but you didn't want him. You don't want that one, okay? So, yeah, another reason why we need to have boundaries is because the Bible tells us to. In Proverbs 4:23, it says, guard your heart above all else, for it is the source of life. So in my case, me not kissing, me living with my parents, this was a way that I could guard my heart. Another thing at first that I wouldn't really hug him. I'll probably tell y'all at some point, but I wouldn't really hug him because I was coming off of, I would say I hadn't dated in years, but when I was dating, it wasn't healthy. It was very toxic. And so I had walls and gates and just, child. That man downstairs right now, listen, he had to go through some stuff, okay? Because I seriously was like, nope, guard my heart. The Lord say guard my heart. I took that very literally. And I definitely set up a blockade around me, because what you're not about to do, okay, is come up in here and mess with what the Lord got going on, okay? So that was something I did just in general, not because it was him, just in general with anybody. And so some people wouldn't get past the first little door. So I'm laughing at myself because dating me was a lot. And I say that because I look back and I'm like, it was a lot, but also I'm glad I did it. I do not regret having those safeguards in place. I do not regret having those boundaries because they set us up for a successful, godly marriage. So yeah. And another reason you should have boundaries is because it is for your protection. Boundaries are going to protect you. Us saying from jump that, hey, during the week, you leave here at 9:30. I don't care what we watching, what we in the middle of. Nope, 9:30 you leave. So every day that he was over at my house during the week, which was only once, he left at 9:30. This was something, I don't even think my parents knew we had put that in place. This was just something that me and him, through a lot of conversation and discussions, decided this is a good time. This isn't too late, whatever. So on the days that my parents were not home though, we would not be at my house, okay? We wouldn't be at my parents' house. We would find somewhere to go. And if y'all don't know by now, I am a homebody. I love being home. My husband is a homebody. We both love just chilling at the house, watching movies, eating snacks. Like that's our jam, that's our vibe. So anytime we would have to go somewhere, it would be like, now we gotta go. Because sometimes my parents, they grown, they wouldn't tell me they was not gonna be there. So some days I was like, I would have to text them and be like, hey babe, parents ain't here, what you trying to do? Like, so we would have to make another plan. Was it inconvenient? Absolutely. Did it suck sometimes? Yes it did. But we made the best of it because we knew that the courting or the dating stage, whatever you want to call it, was only for a season. And so we would find places, we would find things to do. We would go to like this like little town center area. We would walk around, basically wear ourselves out. You know, we would go walk around Target, look at books, talk about books. There was actually a place here called Lucky's Market. If you have a Lucky's Market where you live, be thankful because we love that place. We don't have it anymore, but we loved it because they had like a nice little sitting area. They had games. It was like perfect for us. So we would go in there and play Scrabble and eat food and get ramen and all of this stuff. So we found things to do to keep ourselves occupied. We were so open with each other. I would say communicate your boundaries early. Don't wait until you're into the relationship for real, because you're going to waste a lot of valuable time if you don't communicate your expectations and your boundaries early and often, because sometimes people forget. Okay, sometimes people forget. So that is something that I would encourage you to do if you know you just got into a relationship or you know it's about to happen or whatever. Like, communicate those boundaries early and don't be afraid. If this is the man of your prayers, he's going to be on board with it. He's not going to argue with you about it. He's not going to try to convince you of why you shouldn't do that. I once had a guy ask me when I was like telling everybody, hey, I'm not kissing until I get married, just FYI. And what that did was weed out a lot of the idiots. Y'all, it weeded out a lot of the idiots, okay? And so I had a guy say, well, if you don't kiss him, how you gonna know if you gonna want to kiss him forever? I said, well, one thing I know about marriage for me is that I want to be married forever, which tells me that we can practice as much as we want for how long we want. And I think this is just, I know it's a teaching that the world tries to like get us to feed into, where it's like, well, if you ain't tried it, it might not be no good. Like, do y'all think y'all gonna be married for 5 minutes? Like, you have to learn each other. You have to grow in all of those areas. I'm not gonna get into that, but I'm just saying, as far as the kissing was concerned, I was just like, hey, like, we gonna be married, so we got time. All right, so that was something for me, but that also weeded out some idiots, okay? So don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid of where God has you. If you know kissing is not your vibe because you know what you do when you kiss, then don't do it. I'm just trying to help y'all, okay? So another level, I would say, of accountability that I had was, you guys know I was my pastor's assistant for about almost 3 years, I think. So every single Monday, we had a meeting. Now, it didn't matter. It was Monday, we had a meeting. So because I also had that in the back of my mind, anytime we would do anything during the week, I already know, or on the weekend, I already know my pastor finna be like, how was your weekend? What y'all do? Like, he didn't care. Like, he was very much in my business, and I appreciate him for that, and I honor him for that, because I needed it. Like, God put those safeguards in place for us because he knew that we would need it. And so, yeah. So, another thing was, like I said, no hugging. There was no inappropriate like touching and stuff like that. We were just, both of us, I was like, listen, I'm trying to be married for a long time. So if you trying to, you know what I'm saying, get down, then go ahead and pop that good question. Because I knew he was my husband. And there were just things like, even I shared with on the love story video how when we had to go out of town for something, he got me my own hotel room and told them I think he told them, I don't know if he did or if the Lord just worked that out, but my room was on the whole nother floor on the whole opposite end. Okay. And so, which normally if you book a room together, book 2 rooms, they'll just put them next to each other. So again, God was in that too, because y'all, you're not as strong as you think. Okay. These things made our dating experience so enriching. We had such a good time. We knew what the boundaries were. It just became easy. We would find creative ways to do things, creative ways to go out on dates, and just have a really good time. We ate out a lot. We ate out a lot, okay? And I don't regret it. I regret the pounds, but I don't really regret the dates. But what are some things that if you're married and you dated with purpose and you didn't have sex or kiss before you got married, or even if you did kiss but you didn't have sex like before you got married, like what are some things that you did to like kind of safeguard your relationship? And if you're waiting, what are some things that you're doing to prepare for that? Because I think sometimes we don't prepare for the thing that we've been waiting for and praying for. I feel like sometimes we just will be like, okay, well, I'll be fine because I'm fine now. I'm telling you, sis, take your big sis advice. Don't do that, okay? Just make sure you understand, you know yourself. We know ourselves. You know what you can, don't do that, okay? So boundaries are not bad. Boundaries are for our protection, and I embrace boundaries now. Even as a homemaker, sometimes people assume things that, oh, you're just home doing nothing, so here go my kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, we gotta have boundaries in general, right? Like, will I do things sometimes? Absolutely. Is it gonna be an all the time thing? No, because I need to have boundaries, and there are things that I actually do at my home that are of value to me, even if they aren't of value to you. So we have to know where our value lies, and if we want to honor God in our dating situation and our marriage, we got to do it. We got to set it up. We got to be disciplined. Okay? Be disciplined. Be like, nope. Okay? Were we perfect in our dating? No, we were not perfect. I would just say we both had the same goal. We both wanted a God-honoring marriage. So even if there were times where we wanted to do things, because you're attracted to your partner. Like, this is a natural thing. It's not like, oh, I'm just gonna date him and I'm not attracted to him. Sis, if you're not attracted to him, I'm just trying to tell you, don't let people tell you that you don't need to be attracted to your husband, okay? Like, people be like, but he a Christian. Yeah, but I don't even want him to like talk to me. Like, you know, like, y'all, I'm just trying to tell you, you don't have to settle for someone who you're not attracted to, because that's going to make it so much harder in your marriage. I could get into that, but we're talking about boundaries today, okay? So if this video encouraged you, let me know by liking it and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Remember that God is God and we are not. So we trust him and we let him do his thing. See you guys next time. Bye.